Good morning to all. Rangoli.
Yes,
Rang-
sir. Good morning.
yeah. Audible?
Yes, sir. Audible.
Okay. Already started that your third unit of that service marketing, that is customer defined service standards. You know already that is what's that gap 1, gap 2 and gap 3. No doubt gap 1 is in between the expected service and company perceptions of consumer expectations. Whatever the gap is there between these two, that is called as gap 1. And gap 2 is in between what kind of service delivery is there by the service provider to the end users, and what are the customer driven service designs and standards are there, and between these two what is the gap, and how as a service marketing manager they are going to put some strategies to reduce this gap. Those all are the steps those are coming under the gap 2. And especially in this we need to learn that, okay, what is that exactly. Gap 3 is customer driven service designs and service standards, company perceptions and consumer expectations. So on the basis of these, okay, particular gaps only service model is dependent. So for the purpose to reduce that service gaps, as in service marketing manager, they need to provide some strategies to remaining service employees. They need to implement and they need to practice it, and they need to maintain such a kind of relationship with between the service marketing manager to all employees as well as to the customers also. If there is any errors, as a service marketing manager, their major role is to they need to discuss with such a kind of problems with the top level authority, and they need to take permission from them. Then if there is again errors, then they need to discuss with them, conduct some particular training to the service employees and try to reduce that gap. Then only there is a quality of standards, or otherwise you can again collect some feedback by the employees and again by the customers. So on the basis of that you need to try to reduce that gap. So this is what coming under the customer defined service standards. Service standards are totally depend on the what kind of quality of service you are giving to the end users. Then why you should maintain that such a kind of particular quality to the uh, all the organization, for the purpose to maintain such a kind of brand level. So for the purpose to maintain that customers loyalty to the organization, you need to maintain that standardity. Okay, then already that is I already discussed that what are the types of customer defined service standards. There are two types of particular customer defined service standards. First one is hard measures and second one is soft measures. Hard measures are standards often involved counts or timed out action of how many, how accurately, how quickly you are going to give to such a kind of service to the end user. Example, correct order delivered to the consumer with respect to time. Maybe that is there on the right on time or no. Okay, so uh, with respect to the take an example, the doctor keeps the patient scheduled appointment time, and dry cleaner cleans the customer's clothing by the promised date. With the help of that particular date or time, okay, within that particular time, okay, you are given that such a kind of services to the end users or no. So for the purpose of that, that is a very hard time to you people to achieve that particular whatever given work, and you need to maintain that satisfactory level of the end users. That's what coming under the hard measures. And soft measures are this is to the customers, like soft standards are areas that are more difficult to measure objectively and agree a standard. Soft standards are developed in response to customers why invariably ask themselves by taking such a kind of service delivery by the service providers. As in customer, they should ask themselves about the satisfaction about the services given by the service provider. That's coming into the soft measures. As in service marketing manager, they need to analyze, they need to think, they need to collect data related to the customers, whether they are happy or unhappy about the service provided. So, as a customer, they are going to think like this: was I involved, informed, and consulted? Did I like how I was treated? Okay, in what way was I made to feel? So these are some again questions. So on the basis of that, soft measures are dependent. So next point is that is factors necessary for appropriate service standards. What are the factors necessary for appropriate that service standards? First one is standardization of service behaviors and actions. As a service provider, they need to maintain some standardity of service behavior. They need to behave properly to the end users. Okay, they need to give respect to the end users, and if there is any errors, as a service marketing manager, they need to take action on the all the service employees. So it maintains the standardity level of the employees. Then second one is formal service targets and goals. What are the service targets are there? Okay, formally, officially. Okay, you need to provide such a kind of particular service targets to the your employees, and with respect to the goals, okay, whether they are reached the target or no. So on the basis of that, you need to analyze that each day by day. So on the basis of that only, that tells about the whether you are maintaining that such a kind of service standards or no. Without target, there is no any particular demand. Okay, without target, there is no any sales of your services. Without target, there is no any satisfactory level. Without target, there is no any work furnished by the employees. Okay, so the thing is only this much. Okay, as a service marketing manager, you need to give such a kind of service direction to your employees. Then for the purpose to reach that particular goal, okay, you need to take such a kind of work from the employees. Customer, not a company, defined standards. Okay, whatever standards are there. Okay, not a company, think as a customer, how they are expecting. Okay, on the basis of their particular standards, on the basis of their particular expectations, as a service provider, you need to define some standards. You need to give such a kind of standard of quality of service to the end users. That is what coming under the, these are the major factors necessary for appropriate service standards. So next one is, that is very important. I already discussed, but again I am recollecting these points. That is process for setting customer defined standards. How you are going to set such a kind of service standards? Okay, that is, first one is identify existing or desired service encounter sequence. Encounter sequence is, what is that encounter? Yes, anybody from this class? Yes, Sanket Russell. Sanket, come in video mode. Sanket, don't waste my time. Come in video mode, Sanket. All have to come in video mode. Fast. Make it fast. Meghna Jakati. Meghna, tell me what the service encounter means. I already discussed many times to the class. That is, what is that exactly the service encounter is?
So encounter means meet unexpectedly,
Huh.
and service means like give services to the customer like more than they expect, something like that.
No, in generally, a service encounter means what?
Mm. So
Jasvina,
I don't have that much idea about that.
I already discussed it, madam. Jasvina, yes, tell me. Service encounter means what? Because this is the first step that's very important in setting customer defined standards. Just when first you unmute your speaker, unmute your speaker.
So now you can hear.
Yeah, you're audible now.
So a service encounter is whenever we are getting any kind of services.
Ah, it is the process
So when
between
we are
the,
receiving,
It is the process between the service provider and the end users. End users are
Yes,
busy
sir.
in taking such kind of services, and the service providers, they are busy in giving such kind of services to the end user. Whatever this particular process is there in between the service provider and the customer, that is called a service encounter.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for the purpose to identify existing or desired service, okay, what kind of that sequence is there? What are the steps are there? Those are coming under the first step. That is first step of that is customer defined standards. Then second one is translate customer expectations into behaviors or actions. What is this exactly? As a service marketing manager, okay, whatever customer expectations are there, by giving such a kind of services to the end users, okay, you need to change that behavior or actions of the end users. Means only this much, you have to make it to the satisfactory level. You need to change that satisfactory level of that particular end users. Then third one, select behaviors and actions for standards. If there is a behavior and actions of the customers are good, okay, so no need to change more. If there is any bad behavior by the end users, or maybe any actions are very different as compared to before one, okay, so by analyzing their facial expressions, and by doing something like how they are going to discuss in front of that any service provider, in that time only you can going to analyze that. So on the basis of that, you can give such a kind of again quality to the your particular services. Means you need to change or settle again such a kind of service standard to your organization. Okay, set again hard and soft standards. Okay, then what I discussed before 2 minutes back, that is, then fifth one, develop feedback mechanisms. Okay, what are the feedbacks? Those are given by the end users. Okay, as a service marketing manager, okay, on the basis of that, yeah, if there is any error, you need to change. Okay, you need to maintain that quality, you need to maintain that standardity by implementing such a kind of principles. Okay, if there is no any particular changes required, so you need to take that as a challenge, and compare with your competitors and make it different, right? So even in hard, measure by audits or by operating data. Okay, you can take that use of that, how you are going to operate the data. So on the basis of that, okay, data only, you need to change that particular standards. And here in soft, measure by transactions based surveys. Okay, what kind of particular transactions are there between you and your end users? So on the basis of that, you know, you need to collect such a kind of particular data by survey, by interacting with them, by interview with them, by directly communication with them. Okay, you need to communicate with them directly face to face. So in the time of service only, okay, you need to collect such a kind of information. Those are what the differences between the hard and soft. So next one is, that is, establish measures and target levels. What kind of particular targets are there to you? Okay, and how are you going to measure that? Okay, you need to analyze the level. On the basis of that, track measures against standards. Okay, you need to measure the standardity of your service marketing. So what kind of particular service you are giving already, and how you are going to measure that? Okay, by taking the feedback from the end users, or maybe by reaching such a kind of targets, or maybe if there is any changes required. So on what particular basis you are going to measure your service standards? Okay, need to work on that. So if there is a need, okay, you need to upgrade target levels and measures. So these are the major points or steps. Those are coming under the process for setting customer defined standards. Okay, the next point, that is, what are the challenges of matching supply and demand in capacity? Very, very important here it is. Okay, supply and demand are very important. If supply is more, means demand is less. Not like, not like that. Depend on the product quality, depend on the features of the product. If the supply is more, maybe demand is also more. Sometimes if supply is more, sometimes there is no any demand, right? So those are depend on the each other. So what kind of challenges are there for the matching supply and demand in capacity? That is, most services are perishable, you know already. Okay. Second one is maximum capacity of some service system has no flexibility. Maximum capacity of some services, okay, has no any flexibility. Means within that particular frame only, within that particular standardity principles only, they need to give such a kind of service to the end user. Because there is no any such a kind of flexibility also. That flexibility is not taken by the higher authority. Only in that particular frame, within that particular policy only, within that principles only, they need to work. Okay. So it becomes very difficult. These are the major challenges. Then third one, demand for many services is more difficult to predict. What kind of demands are there? Maybe your competitors also giving such a kind of services, and you are also giving such a kind of same services to the end user. Okay, it becomes very difficult to predict. It becomes very difficult to analyze what kind of quality of particular services you are giving to the end users, and how other people they are giving. It becomes very difficult. So variability in service time, maybe it's depend on the variability also. If you are giving within time, means more number of customers are loyal to your organization, no doubt. If you will take more time, okay, then maybe end users becomes unhappy about the organization. So it is depend on totally customers. Okay, that's what these are the major challenges in matching supply and demand, particular in capacity. That is, variability in service time is also plays a very important role, and that is one of the major challenge to the service sector. Most services are location bound, only to the some particular location bound only. Okay, only to the some particular location only that service is available. But in all particular area, in all particular location, such kind of some particular services are not available by the respected companies. So even this is also one of the major challenges. To maybe your customers are in geographically, they're in other places, but they buy it already your product, but it becomes very difficult to take such a kind of services by you people. Even this is also one of the major particular challenge. Okay, you need to take care as a service marketing manager. So coming to next point, by analyzing these all challenges, what kind of supply is there, what kind of demand is there, what kind of particular capacity of supply you are maintaining, what kind of particular capabilities you have, what kind of particular manpower you have. Okay, where your plants are there for the purpose to give such a kind of services, what kind of particular sales executives are there. Okay, what kind of particular service executives are there. By analyzing these all points, okay, how you should manage that demand for your same organization, because competitors are there in all time, no doubt. Your competitors are more. Okay, everything, your customers are also there. For the purpose to maintain same demand for your organization, what are the strategies you are going to implement, what are the challenges are there, what are the qualities you need to maintain, what are the principles you need to follow, what are the strategies you need to follow. Again, you need to think on all these parameters. That's what managing demand, it is very difficult. Reading purpose it's okay, but while you're going to maintain same demand as compared to your competitor, it becomes very difficult, my friends. So demand is the amount of particular economic good or service that a consumer or group of consumer will want to purchase at a given price. See, within that particular price only, as compared to a competitor, they need to buy that your particular product. So you don't take more amount or less amount for the purpose to maintain that particular demand. Your some standard it is with respect to quality, price, availability, time being, everything you need to maintain everything in detail. Then only you can manage that demand. Services are perishable, no doubt. Hence, the demand becomes critical. Proper strategy implementation is very important in demand management to the services. You need to properly implement what kind of strategies those are important for your organization, how you should implement. Okay, and for the purpose to implement such a kind of strategies, how you should transfer to your employees. Okay, what are the particular rules and regulations you are framed, what are the objectives are there. Okay, you need to take such a kind of work by your employees. Unless if your employees are not happy, it becomes very difficult to manage that particular service organization demand. Okay, for the purpose to maintain that quality. Okay, quality itself that tells that demand to your organization. The next one is demand patterns. What are those demand patterns? Those are sketching demand patterns. There are various kinds of particular demand patterns are there. Okay, in that first one is sketching very important demand patterns. An organization has to track and sketch the demand level for its services at specific time periods. As a service marketing manager, your major role is to you need to uh, uh, make some particular deadlines. You have to make some particular service exact qualities. Okay, you are in which particular level. Okay, you need to maintain that time. So on the basis of that time, this can be done with ease and accuracy with respect to your time. Okay, you need to give that particular accuracy to your end users want. If an organization maintains a customer database and a record of varying demand levels over a period of time, companies should track the demand levels regularly, like daily, weekly, and monthly. See, tracking of that, what kind of demand are there to your particular service sector. That may be by on daily basis, on monthly basis, or yearly basis also, or even weekly also. So, meanwhile, you need to take such a kind of particular feedback by the end users. Means you need to track such a kind of survey. The demand level for some services are varies seasonally also, because some particular industries or factories are going to work in only season. Depend on that particular season only they will work, and they will do that work, and they will take such a kind of service feedback. Therefore, companies should gather and record information on a periodic basis to predict the future demand levels. So, on the basis of that, okay, as an service marketing manager, they should gather and record the same particular that information on a periodic basis to predict the future or any demand to the organization. Suppose take an example, seasonally means sugar factories people, they are going to start their particular sugar factory in the month of every year in the month of October to up to March or April. So in that particular months, how they will give such a kind of service to the farmers. Okay, by taking sugar care from the agriculture field to again to the industry, whatever they will take care about the transportation and cutting up that sugar tree. Then within 2 months, okay, by taking such a kind of raw material to the sugar factory, within 2 months, how they will give that particular bills to their accounts. That's very important. As an service marketing manager, they need to sketch that what kind of demand patterns are there. If you are going to give such a kind of particular bills in that time, okay, no doubt you can maintain that such a kind of demand of your sugar factory. Okay, if you are late to give such a kind of bills to your this one farmers, it becomes very difficult to maintain such a kind of demand as compared to other sugar factories. So these are some particular uh, points which are coming into the sketching demand patterns. So example, tracking demand for a fast food center services can hourly basis might be useful in understanding the demand. See, very, very important for the purpose to analyze this. Okay, that is tracking demand for fast food centers services on hourly basis might be useful in understanding the demand patterns. So, what kind of demand is there to your particular this one fast food centers? Take an example. Uh, uh, mm, Maybe by giving such a kind of particular services to the customers on the spot, you will get that feedback by that customers. You will get that feedback like taste, okay, then smell, then after that quantity, quality, everything. As in customer, they will give such a kind of feedback on the spot only. Maybe this is called as yeah, hardly this feedback, hardly that information by the customers as an particular service person, service marketing manager, or any that this fast food that person. Okay, they need to take a particular information by the end users in the time, so it becomes very easy for them to change any particular quality. It helps them to motivate again if the quality is good, no doubt, no need to change in the particular taste or any this one, no need to add any more particular ingredients. So if there is any changes required, okay, on the spot, so without losing any remaining customers, you need to change that particular ingredients. So you need to attract such a kind of particular customers. Then second one is that is foreseeable cycles. After capturing the data on demand levels in the form of charts, an organization should and observe the chart for predictable demand patterns by analyzing the feedback of the end users. Once the service marketing manager, if they collect the such a kind of any information or any feedback by the service provider, okay, so they need to check on that. So on the basis of that, okay, they need to again change in the particular demand patterns. They need to change in the again need of the particular customers. They need to change the quality of that product with respect to that chart. Example, the crowd at theme parks, movie halls, and restaurants would be large during the weekends or holidays when people have enough free time. Similarly, employees tend to invest more in various financial services when it is time to file their tax return, and as a result, the demand for services increases during that particular. But depend on the particular want, okay, depend on the season maybe, okay, depend on the time, okay, depend on when the needs are going to increase. In that time, how you are going to be ready for the purpose to give such a kind of services to your end users, coming under the foreseeable cycles. Then third one, random demand variations. Maybe even in uh, demand, okay, there is a continuous change in the demand. Demand is not constant all time because of your competitors, because of your season, because of particular time, because of the culture, because of that particular any season, okay, because of climatical conditions, okay. uh, these all particular whatever demands are there, those are going to vary from one day to another way. Maybe every hour wise that is going to fluctuate. Some of the demand patterns show predictable cycles, whereas others are random or on ad hoc in nature. However, causes associated with the demand patterns can be identified most of the times. Okay. Then demand patterns by market segments. Even demand patterns are also varies as per the need of the end users. Depend on the market segment also. uh, Already, no need to discuss that what are the market segmentation: psychographic, geographic, demographic, behavioral segmentation. So on the basis of that, okay, even those demands are going to fluctuate. Even there is a more need to change in the patterns of the demand. Okay. An organization that maintains a comprehensive customer database which includes all the transactions with each customer in a detailed manner is at an advantage, as demand patterns exhibited by each segment can be easily identified. This type of database will give in-depth information about the table of random demand patterns shown by various segments. Okay, so depend on their thinking level. Okay, what kind of particular service sector we have. Okay, how you need to change. Okay, everything you need to work on that, and you need to study first about what kind of particular market segmentation you have. Okay, which one is very mapping to your particular organization. So what kind of databases are there with you. Okay, maintain that such a kind of database, all the transactions what happened before and now, maintain that whole data. So on the basis of that, you need to work with your end users. Okay, so on the basis of their expectations, you need to work on that, coming into the demand patterns by market segment. Then what are the factors influencing demand? Suppose take an example, if there is a demand to your particular service sector, take an example. Okay, what are the again major factors those are influencing to the demand? Suppose you want to maintain same demand in the future life also for your organization. Okay, what are the major particular demand patterns, or how those are going to influence such kind of demand? One is contraction and recession, and this is a time to all particular business people to contraction and a recession. So on the basis of that, okay, it is a major point to influence any demand pattern to the organization. So next one is expansion. How you are believe in that particular in expanding that such a kind of particular service sector. So by expanding your service sector from geographically, demographically, psychographically, behaviorally, take an example with respect to all the market segments. Okay, this is no doubt it can also enhances your that demand to your organization by expanding your businesses, by expanding but such a kind of particular service sector means only this much by taking such a kind of taking care of by all the particular customers, by opening such a kind of service sectors in all the places. Okay, you can maintain that such a kind of demand to the organization. One who is going to, you know already, one who is give such a kind of service in the time, for them there is a more demand, and without any services in the time, okay, we are not going to predict, we are not going to analyze. Yes, there is no any such a kind of particular demand. If service sectors are more, people are going to buy such a kind of products. If the services are not more, service sectors are less, geographically no services at all, take an example, demographically no service sectors, take an example. Okay, so as an end user they will feel that service is improper, so they are going to buy other products instead of your particular product. Okay, then technological developments means technically you should be sound, technically you should implement such a kind of particular product, you should add some features as compared to your competitors, you have to give better features product to your end users. Okay, then on the basis of that, not only the features to your product, along with that you need to take such a kind of services online. Then after that you need to tell them to come on that particular day. So on the basis of that, within that time you need to give such a kind of service delivery to your end users coming into the this one, technological developments. So on the basis of that, these are the points influencing such a kind of demand. These are the points again to maintain such a kind of demand to your service sector. Demographics I mentioned already. Then natural and other disasters also, those are impact on the influencing the demand. If there is any natural or any other disasters are there, take an example, even for that also you need to give such a kind of better services even in that time also. Okay, but in that time if you are not going to take any such a kind of initiation towards the society, it becomes very difficult to maintain such a kind of existing customers to your organization. So these are the again major points that are going to influence to the demand to your organization. Then next point is, that is four common types of constraints facing services while you're going to give such a kind of services to the end users. What are those four common types of constraints? One is time constraint, no doubt. Then second one is labor constraint. Then third one is equipment. Then fourth one is facilities constraint. See, these all are there to the industry. Okay, these are the major problems. Okay, you need to face while you're going to give such a kind of particular service to the end users. Then what is that exactly the time constraint is? Maybe chartered accountancy, legal advisor services, management consultancy, medical services, tutorial services, those are not available with you. So on the basis of that, these all are coming under the time constraints. Okay, maybe I'm just taking one example like chartered accountancy. Okay, what is the need of that chartered accountancy? Yes, Jasvina, I mentioned already the majorly four common types of constraints facing the
Yes,
services.
sir.
In time constraint, I mentioned
Chartered
already.
accountant is to manage all the taxes,
Yeah,
wherever billing and all the wherever we can reduce the amount of taxes to be paid back.
yes. If you
to
are
do
not
all the
going to work
financial
in the time,
services of
it
the.
becomes one of the major
Yes, sir.
particular problem to the industry. So even it becomes very problematic. Then what are that exactly legal advisor services? Legal
So
advisor
legal
services.
advisory services are, suppose you are buying some land or any kind of facilities,
No, tell
then
me with
legally
respect
all
to.
the doc.
No, no. Tell me with respect to that service sector only.
So which service sector?
Yeah, any service sector.
Okay, I'll take buses service sector.
Take an example, hospital.
Okay.
Hmm,
So all legal issues like suppose organ donation and all,
true.
organ transplant, organ donation, or
Hmm,
any kind of this surgeries which are the doctor has to go abroad. All
true.
those legal documents and legal issues have to
Yeah.
be taken into consideration.
Legally, you should maintain all the documents for the purpose to transfer
So,
any organs from one
so
person to another
even
person.
so even some kinds of drugs and all we are not
Yes.
supposed to give through hospital,
Yeah.
because they can be used as also a
Legal
morphine can
documents
be
are.
used as an happy. Yes, sir.
What I am trying to telling you here is it will take more time for the purpose to manage
Yes.
that. Okay. It will take more time. So that's what these are the major constraints in the any service sector. These are the
Hmm.
major problems. First one is chartered accountancy. Second one is legal advice services. It will take more time. On the spot, they'll
Mhm.
not give you any on the spot decision. That's what that is a major constraint. Then management consultancy. Tell me.
So management, same sir, in the hospital only. Like in
True.
order to get some employees and all, they might not get at that point.
True.
If you have a big hospital and all, you may not get the specific management like the CEO,
There
the
is no any
operations
exact.
head.
There is no any exact rules and regulations with respect to the time. When the need is more,
Mhm.
they will not take care about on the spot. They will not care any on the spot. There is no any proper decision making, right? So that will really again one of the major constraint while we are going to maintain as in service sector. So medical services also, it is again very
Less of
difficult
staff,
in some
less of
factories. Take an
staff,
example.
less of equipments.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
in some particular
Staff will be
factory
less.
staff is less. Take an example in any factory. If any employees are injured, take an example. It will, if, as in a particular industry people, they are going to delay in that particular
So any kind of
any
earthquake
kind.
or tsunami or floods, then that also
Yes, yes,
requires medical services even for the
true.
medical providers.
Then tutorial services also very lazy as compared to this one.
Yes, sir. So
So
like CME, continuous medical education, continuous
true,
nursing education.
true,
The education should be continuous even while you're working.
true. So these are the major points that are coming into the with respect to the time constraint. Second one is labor constraint. You know already. Okay, there should be accounting firms. They are not going to maintain all that data. Okay, even that is one of the major problems to all the labors. Okay, consultancy firms, they are not going to work on that any labors. Okay, they're not ready to take any actions with the particular labors. They don't know what kind of particular rules and regulations are there by the government, everything. Okay, it becomes very difficult. Then equipment constraints are like any equipments, those are related to maybe telecom services, gym services, courier services, and utility services. Okay, these all are the major particular equipment constraints that are coming into the service sector. Then fourth one is facility constraints are airlines constraints, trains, restaurants, movie halls, hospitals. These all are maybe even you can add some more additional points also, but these are the major particular constraints as per according to your syllabus. So these are the major four common types of constraints facing the services. You need to mention these four: time constraint, labor constraint, equipment constraint, and last one is facilities constraint. So up to here I discussed, and maybe only 20 seconds is there with me. If you have any question, ask me now. Otherwise, thank you. If you have any question, ask me. Next class,
Thank you, sir.
optimum versus maximum use of capacity I will take. Go through my slides, it becomes very